in the depths of El Manu. They hired me because I know the jungle better than most. 5 French archaeologists, all polite, all young, all carrying far too much equipment and not enough instinct. Their goal wasn't to dig, at least not yet. They were here to scan. Build a 3D map of the terrain. Use LiDAR and drones to detect irregular landforms that might suggest the remnants of a lost civilization. El Manu had plenty of those. The land is a graveyard of things we'll never understand. We entered through a zone that was off limits technically. The tribes that roam this part of the reserve don't like strangers. They don't make noise about it, but they watch, always. You feel it in your bones. The presence of eyes behind thick brush, the silence that settles where birds should be. I told them this, of course. I told them the truth. This area is not just protected, it's avoided. People don't go here, not because of laws, but because of stories. Warnings passed down from tribe elders, mumbled after dark. The kind of stories that feel older than language. But the French were curious, funded, confident in their tech and their mission. I was just the man with the machete. We set up camp near a slow bend in the river, about 3 days' hike from any known station. The canopy was thick overhead. Sunlight came down in shards. The jungle was strangely quiet. That night, we drank. The air was hot and still. One of the researchers, I think his name was Mark, brought up a book, an old one written by a Peruvian explorer who vanished in the 60s. He claimed to have found a city hidden in the Green Sea, a place called Wiracchai. The others laughed. They'd heard of it. A fantasy, a myth. But I didn't laugh. I knew the name. I'd heard the old men say it when they thought no one was listening. I knew that when the tribes talk about Wiracchai, they don't do it lightly. There's fear in their eyes, not the fear of the unknown, the fear of something remembered. I told them it was just a story. Before they could press me, we heard something strange. Water, louder than the normal current, a distant roar growing fast. Then came the wind, sharp, sudden. The river swelled in seconds, no warning, no storm, just a wall of water ripping through the trees. "Run!" I shouted, but it was already too late. The current slammed through the camp like a freight train. Tents vanished, equipment snapped, bodies were thrown like sticks. I couldn't breathe. I was underwater, then above, then slammed against something hard. My hands clawed at anything solid, but it was all mud, all motion. Then I saw it. A vortex. A dark hole in the water, churning like a mouth. I was pulled toward it. The last thing I saw before I went under was the moon, full and white, high above the canopy. Then nothing. Just black. I don't know how long I was out. When I opened my eyes, there was no light, not even a shimmer. Just the sound of dripping water, distant and uneven, echoing through what felt like a vast, hollow space. I could taste mud in my mouth. My clothes clung to me like skin. Everything smelled like wet stone and rot. I didn't dare move at first. I thought I might be buried, trapped, dead maybe. But then I coughed, hard, and pain bloomed in my ribs, still alive. I reached down, feeling my sides, legs, sore, bruised, but nothing broken. Then I remembered the flashlight. It was a small waterproof torch I kept hooked inside my expedition pants, sealed under 2 layers of zipper. My hand shook as I fumbled for it. For a second, I thought it was gone. But then, cold metal, still there. Click. A weak flickering cone of light cut through the dark. Dust floated in the air like ash. I was inside a cave. Massive, uneven, jagged. The walls around me were slick with moisture. The ground was soft, covered in layers of mud and crushed roots. A small stream flowed along one edge, feeding into a tunnel that vanished into blackness. I had no idea where I was. No way out. And yet, something pulled at me. A feeling just beneath the skin. Like I wasn't alone. Like the cave itself was holding its breath. I started walking, slowly, marking every step. My boots sloshed in the mud. Then I saw it. A wall. No, not just a wall. A structure. A portion of the cavern carved deliberately, unnaturally smooth. The stone had been flattened, darkened by time, and engraved. Dozens of symbols covered it, rows of them etched deep into the surface. I stepped closer. The writing was ancient, primitive, but there was order to it. Some of it resembled early Amazonian glyphs, pre-Kukama, maybe older. But there were other shapes too, ones I didn't recognize. Spirals, eye-like forms, rows of triangles, and in the center, one word appeared again and again, Wirakchai. I read what I could. It wasn't easy. Parts were worn, broken, but the message was clear enough. This place was sacred, not holy, not revered, feared, a warning. Those who enter will die in agony. Do not disturb the slumber of the blue ones. Their sleep is deep. Let it remain so. I stepped back. My skin felt cold, though the air was warm. My heart thudded in my ears. Behind the wall, there was a path, a narrow passage curving into the rock. I should have turned back. I should have waited, prayed for rescue. But something pulled me forward, something deeper than curiosity. I was a guide, yes, but more than that, I had always wanted to find something no one else ever had, and I knew I had found it. The passage was narrow and slick. The walls pressed in on both sides, and the ceiling dipped low in places, forcing me to crouch. The mud sucked at my boots with every step. I walked for what felt like hours. The deeper I went, the more the air changed, warmer, heavier, like breathing through wet cloth. My flashlight dimmed to a faint bluish beam. It wasn't the battery. Something about this place seemed to consume light. Then I saw it. A faint glow ahead. At first I thought it was an illusion. A shimmer in the dark, like a hallucination born from dehydration and fear. But it was real. The tunnel opened into a vast pit. I stood at the edge, the ground dropping away into a bowl of stone. At the bottom was something. It wasn't a ruin. It wasn't natural. It was a structure, massive, rounded, partially embedded in the rock. The shape was wrong for any temple or tomb. No stairs, no symmetry, no carvings. It was smooth, almost metallic, but covered in growth and mineral buildup. It looked as if this structure had been here for millions of years, maybe even more, glowing, pulsing. A deep blue light radiated from an opening at its center, like a wound in the earth. I descended slowly, slipping on wet stone, breath caught in my throat. The light grew brighter as I neared the entrance. I expected heat, but it was cold, cold like ice, the kind that settles into your bones. I stepped inside. The walls were curved, seamless. The blue glow came from veins in the material, veins that pulsed like they were alive. I passed through a corridor and into a chamber that felt impossible. It wasn't air I was breathing anymore. It was too thick, too still. In the center of the chamber stood tanks, enormous vertical cylinders filled with some clear, viscous liquid. Inside them were shapes, humanoid, but wrong, too tall. Their limbs were elongated, flexible in ways that shouldn't be. Their heads were narrow, angular, with no mouths that I could see. Their skin glowed faintly blue, like deep-sea creatures. There were dozens of them, sleeping, suspended. I couldn't move. I stepped closer to one of the tanks. My hand reached out. I didn't mean to, but I couldn't stop. My fingers touched the glass, and pain exploded up my arm. I screamed, my hand. It withered before my eyes. The skin dried and cracked, the veins turned black, the fingernails shriveled. In seconds, it looked 100 years old, a dead hand on a living body. I stumbled back, clutching it, gasping, shivering. And then I saw it. Inside the tank I touched. It moved. A twitch, a shift. Its fingers curled slowly, still asleep, but not for long. I turned and ran. The hallway twisted, my flashlight flickering, casting strange shadows that felt too sharp, too alive. My hand throbbed like it was full of glass. I climbed out of the pit, scraping my arms, trying not to scream. Halfway up the ledge, I slipped. My boot lost its grip, and I tumbled, sliding down a slope of slick stone, crashing hard against the wall, flashlight flying from my hand. I landed in blackness. Something cracked in my back. I couldn't breathe, couldn't feel my legs. I was still. And then, nothing. I woke up in the dark. Not the kind of darkness you adjust to. Not the kind where shapes slowly come into focus. This was absolute, like I had sunk below the concept of light. I couldn't move. Every attempt sent shockwaves through my back and legs. Something was broken, maybe everything. My arms worked, barely, but I couldn't sit up. I couldn't crawl. The pain was constant, wet, sharp, pulsing. I lay there, face tilted slightly to the side, mud pressed into one cheek, my breath shallow. My hand, the one that touched the tank, didn't hurt anymore, because I couldn't feel it at all. I tried calling out. My voice was dry, weak. It echoed against the stone and didn't come back. There was no answer, no sound, no movement. I remembered the tanks, the blue light, the thing inside shifting. Were they awake now? Had I done it? I don't know. Maybe they never needed me to wake them. Maybe they were always going to. The silence stretched. Minutes, hours, I can't tell. I thought about what it meant to die down here. Not quickly, not in a flash of light or a scream, but slowly, quietly, forgotten, undiscovered. Just another fossil swallowed by the earth. I closed my eyes, not to sleep. There was no sleep here, just waiting.